The first light of dawn seeps softly through the narrow cracks in the wooden shutters. You wake slowly, the cool morning air brushing lightly against your skin, carrying with it the faint scent of damp earth and the sharp tang of wood smoke curling up from the hearth below. Outside, the village is just beginning to stir. The low murmur of voices, the distant clatter of wooden carts on uneven paths, the soft cooing of pigeons from the rafters. It's a gentle awakening, but beneath the calm there's an ever-present weight, like a shadow lingering just beyond sight. You lie for a moment, wrapped in your coarse woolen cloak, the fabric rough but familiar, as your thoughts drift quietly toward the fragile threads that hold your life together. Here, in this small humble home, each day is a delicate balance between survival and surrender. The rising sun promises routine chores and simple tasks, yet in your heart, there is a quiet tremor, a knowing that not all women in this village share the same fate. Some are whispered about. Women whose lives have slipped beyond the safety of hearth and kin, drawn into a world where their voices fade beneath the heavy hand of others. You wonder what it must feel like to be one of them, a concubine caught in a fate harsher than death, where freedom is a distant memory and hope a fragile ember. The air holds that quiet tension, a mingling of hope for the day ahead and the shadowed dread of what lies beyond. You breathe deeply, feeling the cold settle into your bones, but also the steady beating of your own heart, a small reminder that you are still here, still breathing, still hoping. The village sounds grow louder, a child's laugh from a nearby cottage, the rhythmic chopping of firewood, the soft murmur of prayers from the small chapel down the lane. These ordinary moments are a lifeline, a gentle reminder of the world's persistence despite the harshness that sometimes hides beneath. You reach out to the window, letting the morning light wash over your face, and wonder quietly, can you feel it too? The chill of the morning air mixed with a quiet hope tinged by a shadow you cannot quite name. As the day begins, you carry these thoughts with you, like a secret companion stepping softly into your world while remembering those whose lives are marked by silence and loss. And if this story stirs something gentle in your heart, consider staying a while, subscribing to walk with me through more hidden corners of history, where voices long forgotten can speak softly once again. The first light settles deeper now, and with it, the village wakes fully. You rise from the straw-filled mattress, your fingers brushing the rough homespun fabric of your dress, a coarse wool that scratches lightly against your skin, but is a shield against the morning chill. The scent of drying herbs hung from the rafters drifts faintly through the room, mingling with the warm aroma of yesterday's fire. Outside, the murmur of the village begins to swell. Women's voices trading gossip by the well, the steady clink of pottery, children's laughter chasing across the muddy paths. Your day will follow a familiar rhythm, one passed down through countless seasons. First, you gather water from the nearby stream, the cold biting your hands, then tend to the small garden where root vegetables and herbs offer both sustenance and subtle comfort. You grind grain between heavy stones, muscles, steady and sure despite the weariness that often settles into your bones. Within your household, there are always tasks: mending a torn sleeve, preparing bread for the midday meal, coaxing warmth from the hearth fire to chase away the lingering damp. Each chore, though simple, is a testament to the strength woven quietly through the lives of women like you. You share this life with your family, your mother's soft voice guiding you, your younger siblings' bright eyes seeking stories or small kindnesses. There is comfort in these ties, in the shared toil and laughter, the knowledge that you belong to this place. The market day brings more faces, more voices weaving a tapestry of community. The butcher's gruff jokes, the healer's whispered advice, the tradeswoman's sharp bargains. It is a world of closeness and constraint where every word and glance carries meaning, and every action can ripple far beyond the moment. Yet beneath the warmth of these daily rituals, a quiet fear lingers, almost like a shadow at the edge of your vision. You have heard the stories whispered when the fire burns low, the fate of women taken from these villages, their lives unmoored and marked by a cruel destiny. Concubines, they say, women caught in a crueler bondage than death, their voices lost beneath the heavy weight of power and possession. This knowledge hums beneath the village's calm surface, a tension you feel but cannot speak aloud. You pause for a moment, feeling the sun's growing warmth on your face and the steady pulse of your own life beneath it all. Have you ever known the uneasy weight of a choice that was never truly yours? The fragile balance between the freedom you hold and the fate that might reach out to claim you? It is a question that settles softly in your mind as you move once more into the day's steady rhythm. If this story speaks to you, perhaps you might share your thoughts. What does freedom mean when it feels so fragile? I invite you to stay with me to explore more lives shaped by both strength and shadow as we walk gently through history's quieter paths together. The day it happened, you barely had time to understand what was unfolding. One moment you were among familiar faces, the scent of fresh bread, the laughter of children, the rough warmth of your family's hearth. The next you found yourself swept away, carried by strangers whose eyes held neither kindness nor pity. The journey was silent, save for the soft rustle of coarse fabric and the distant clatter of hooves on hard earth. You tried to hold on to your name, your story, but it began slipping through your fingers like fine sand. When you arrived at the Lord's Hall, the chill of the stone floors met your bare feet, colder than any winter morning you had known. The air was heavy with unfamiliar scents, rich wine, wax candles burning low, and something else, something sharp and unsettling beneath it all. The vastness of the hall swallowed you, its high ceilings and echoing silence pressing down like a weight you could not lift. Here, you were no longer a daughter, a sister, a neighbor. You were simply a possession, a shadow moved about according to another's will. Your body was claimed before your voice could rise in protest. Hands that once held a spindle now trembled beneath the gaze of the Lord and his servants. The fine silks draped over you did not comfort. They only reminded you of the gulf between your old life and this new, uncertain existence. The heavy curtains blocked out the daylight you once knew, and with it, the freedom to dream of a future you could shape. In this place, concubinage was a cruel reality. The law granted little protection or recognition. Concubines were neither wives nor servants, occupying a liminal space of powerlessness. Their children might inherit no title, their names often erased from records or whispered only in shame. Society saw them as lesser, objects of desire and scorn, trapped in a role that silenced their hopes and diminished their worth. Yet there is no judgment in this telling, only the truth of what was, raw and unvarnished. The loneliness settled deep within you, a cold companion in the nights filled with shadows. The world outside continued, but your world had narrowed to stone walls and quiet despair. The voice you once carried with confidence was muffled, lost beneath the heavy silence of possession. Can you imagine what it feels like to lose your name, your freedom? To become something no longer quite human in the eyes of those around you? What stories do you think go unheard, hidden beneath the folds of history's fabric? If this story stirs your thoughts, I invite you to share what freedom means to you. As we continue to listen together to lives long silenced, the cold stone walls of the Lord's Hall rise around you, unyielding and silent, a constant reminder that you are far from the warmth of your old life. Your room is small and sparsely furnished, a narrow, hard bed with rough blankets, the fabric heavy and scratchy against your skin. The air holds a strange mixture. The lingering scent of incense burned to mask other odors, the faint sweetness of spilled wine on polished floors, and the ever-present chill that seems to seep into your bones. Here, in this gilded cage, every sound is amplified. The soft footsteps of servants passing by, the hushed whispers from distant chambers, the distant clinking of cups during feasts you are rarely invited to. You live in the shadow of the Lord's power, visible but unseen, spoken of but rarely heard, but rarely. Your days pass in quiet monotony, marked by strict rules and the watchful eyes of those who remind you, silently but clearly, that you hold no real place in this world. You are neither wife nor servant, belonging fully to neither, caught between privilege and vulnerability. Your voice, once your own, has been stolen, leaving you with only the weight of your presence. Loneliness is your closest companion, There are moments when your heart aches for a touch not born of ownership, a smile not forced by circumstance. Yet such small kindnesses are rare and fragile, glimpses of warmth in a life otherwise defined by cold control. Fear shadows every step, the fear of displeasing your master, the dread of punishment for perceived disobedience or failure. You learn to mask your emotions, to hide your pain beneath a practiced calm, because even that small display can bring danger. Socially, you exist on the margins, acknowledged but not respected, desired yet despised. The law offers you no protection, your status is precarious, your rights nearly non-existent. Children born to you may carry your blood but seldom your name or inheritance. The world beyond these walls may whisper of your presence, but it rarely speaks your truth. You are a ghost in plain sight, a woman made invisible by circumstance and society alike. In such a harsh place, what small comforts could survive? Perhaps a fleeting glance, a whispered word of sympathy, the softness of a stolen moment of quiet. It is these fragile threads of humanity that keep you tethered to yourself amid the weight of invisibility. Have you ever experienced a moment of kindness when everything else felt difficult? Those small acts can mean more than we often realize. If this story resonates, please share your thoughts or memories. Together we hold space for these quiet, overlooked lives. Sometimes, when the hall grows quiet and the flickering candlelight casts long shadows across the stone floor, I find myself drifting into the corners of my mind where memories linger, memories of a life that once felt whole, of laughter shared by the hearth, of dreams whispered beneath a starlit sky, of mornings touched by sunlight and freedom. Now, those memories feel like fragile glass, beautiful yet easily shattered by the weight of this new existence. There is a grief that settles deep inside me, quiet but unyielding. It is the grief of loss, not just of home or family, but of self, of a future rewritten by hands I cannot see, a path I never chose. With it comes a shame that is harder to name, a heavy cloak woven from the eyes and whispers of others. Society looks at women like me with a mixture of desire and disdain, as if we exist only to be claimed or cast aside. We are neither fully woman nor fully shadow, trapped in a space that refuses us a clear place or voice. The world outside these walls treats us as less than human, though our hearts beat just the same. We are desired yet despised, caught between longing and rejection, belonging nowhere yet visible to all. This liminal existence weighs heavily, each glance a reminder of the precariousness of our worth, each silence a barrier to connection. It is as if the chains that bind us are invisible, but no less real. Over time, I have felt the edges of my own spirit grow numb, as if dulling the pain is the only way to survive. Moments of hope shrink, replaced by a cautious acceptance of what is. Yet beneath this numbness, a quiet resilience stirs, a whispered refusal to disappear completely. In the stillness of the night, I cling to that small spark, however faint. Have you ever felt trapped by circumstances beyond your control? When the weight of the world presses too hard, what is it that keeps you moving forward? Sometimes, strength is found in the softest places, in a memory, a breath, a thought that refuses to be silenced. If you feel called to share your own reflections, know this is a space to hold those stories gently, without judgment. Together we listen not only to history's loudest voices but to the quiet ones as well, those who lived in the shadows, carrying invisible chains that few dared to see. If you are blessed with a child in this life, your heart becomes a place of both light and shadow. The moment a child is born, a fierce joy rises within you, a tiny, perfect life that carries a piece of your spirit. Holding them close, feeling their soft breath against your skin, you dare to hope that this small being might find a better path than the one you walk. Yet even in that hope, there lingers a quiet fear. For children born of a concubine walk a fragile line in the world, their futures uncertain and often shaped by the whispers and judgments of others. You watch your child grow beneath your weary gaze, each smile a balm, each tear a fresh ache. You wonder if they will be accepted, loved, and protected. or if the weight of your status will shadow their steps. History is clear. Children born to concubines rarely inherit titles or lands. They are often caught between worlds, neither fully embraced by the Lord's family nor free from stigma. Their names may not be spoken in proud halls, their futures, shaped by the fragile mercy of those above them. Yet love, fierce and undiminished, binds you. You teach them what you can, the small joys of the earth, the songs of your people, the strength to endure. You dream quietly of a time when their worth is measured not by birthright, but by the fullness of their heart. Still, the fear remains, a constant companion. Will they be seen, truly seen, beyond the shadow cast by their mother's fate? It is a complicated love, both a shield and a source of vulnerability. The legacy you leave is uncertain, tangled in both the tenderness of motherhood and the harsh realities of the world around you. But perhaps in the quiet moments, your dreams carry further than you know. What dreams do you hold for those who come after you? How do you imagine the legacies that shape us, silently and surely? If these questions stir your heart, I invite you to share your thoughts on family, hope, and the delicate threads that connect us across time. Life as a concubine offers few paths, each lined with its own dangers and sorrows. Often the idea of escape flickers in your mind like a distant star, bright but unreachable. To flee is to risk harsh punishment, exile, or worse. The world beyond these stone walls is not always a refuge. It may be a place where you are hunted, shunned, or left utterly alone. Social isolation waits like a silent sentinel, warning that leaving might mean losing everything, even the small scraps of safety you have managed to claim. Submission, then, often seems like the only choice, a quiet acceptance of the life forced upon you. To endure is to build a fragile strength beneath the surface, to learn when to speak and when to remain silent, to find small ways to preserve your spirit amid control and neglect. Some women, in the margins of history, found subtle means of resistance. A whispered prayer, a secret friendship, a coded message shared in the shadows. These acts were quiet rebellions, often invisible to the world but vital to survival. There are stories, faint and scattered, of those who dared to resist more openly, who fled under cover of night, or sought refuge with sympathetic allies. But these tales are rare and often incomplete, swallowed by time and silence. The majority faced their fates with a resilience born not of choice but of necessity. In these limited choices, flight, submission, endurance, the true strength of these women quietly shines. It is not the strength of power or rebellion, but of survival, of holding on when all seems lost, of carving out moments of dignity in impossible circumstances. This resilience, fragile yet unbreakable, echoes through the ages, reminding us of the humanity hidden in history's shadows. Have you ever faced a choice between two difficult paths? How did you find peace in uncertainty? If you feel moved, I invite you to reflect or share your thoughts. Sometimes the gentlest strength is found in the quiet acceptance of what we cannot change, and the courage to carry on regardless. As night falls softly over the village and the world quiets beneath, a blanket of stars, I invite you to rest here with me for a moment, holding gently in your heart the lives of women often forgotten by history. These are women whose stories were hidden behind heavy doors and whispered only in shadows. Women who endured hardships so deep that their voices were almost lost to time. Yet their resilience, their strength, and their humanity remain, quietly, waiting to be remembered. Thank you for sharing this intimate journey with me. Together, we have stepped into a world where pain and courage live side by side, where survival is an act of quiet defiance, and where every small story adds to the rich tapestry of our shared past. The labels history gives may try to define these women, but we know there is so much more. Feelings, hopes, fears, and dreams that no name can capture. As you settle in for rest, imagine the soft rustle of leaves outside, the cool night air brushing gently against your skin, and the distant call of an owl echoing through the stillness. Let this calm carry you, a gentle reminder that even the most silent lives hold meaning, and that by listening, we honor them. If this story touched you, please consider sharing your thoughts or subscribing. Together, we keep these gentle histories alive, offering space for forgotten voices to be heard, for empathy to grow, and for understanding to deepen. May peace find you as you drift into rest, carrying these stories softly in your heart. Take a deep, slow breath with me now. Feel the air fill your lungs and then release it gently, as if letting go of the day's weight. Imagine yourself wrapped in a soft, warm blanket, its comforting folds holding you close like the embrace of a quiet hearth fire. Outside, the night sky stretches vast and still, dotted with distant stars that twinkle softly, whispering calm across the darkness. Let your body sink deeper into rest, your thoughts drifting like gentle clouds passing over a moonlit landscape. The stories we've shared tonight settle softly within you, like a tender ember glowing quietly beneath the surface, steady, warm, and peaceful. There is no rush here, no need to chase or hold on to anything but this moment of calm. As you rest, know that you carry not just the story of one woman, but the echoes of many lives woven together through time. Stories of strength, sorrow, hope, and quiet endurance. We have traveled this path together, and I am grateful for your company, for your openness to listen and remember. May this peace follow you into your dreams and beyond. When you are ready, gently return to the waking world, carrying the soft light of history's quiet voices within your heart. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Until we meet again, rest well and be kind to yourself. The world outside these walls often feels colder than the stone beneath your feet. Even when you step beyond the Lord's hall, you carry a weight invisible to the eye but heavier than any chain. It is the weight of judgment, whispered in the market, passed between neighbors like a secret no one dares speak aloud. You become the subject of silent accusations, the one whose presence stirs unease without a single word being spoken. Behind closed doors, voices lower when you pass and eyes avert, some filled with pity, others with disdain. You remember the sharp sting of a glance from a village woman once your friend, now wary and distant, as if your very existence unsettles the order she knows. The children no longer run to your side and play, their laughter fading as they absorb the quiet warnings of their elders. At the well, the murmur of gossip follows you like a shadow, threading through the cool air like smoke from a dying fire. You catch fragments of phrases, words like fallen, tainted, or other, and feel their meaning sink deep into your bones. Inside, the loneliness tightens its grip. It is a solitude not of your choosing but imposed, a social exile, as cruel as any prison. You long for the simple comfort of belonging, for a hand to hold or a smile that means welcome. Yet the very place where community once nurtured you now holds you at arm's length, as if your pain were contagious or your history a stain on those who might dare to draw near. Shame wraps around you like a heavy cloak, though it is not yours to bear alone. It is a burden given by a world eager to cast blame and draw lines between worthy and less. And still, beneath that cloak, a quiet defiance simmers. You refuse to let the whispers erase your story entirely. In stolen moments, you recall your worth, not as defined by others but by the fierce heart that beats beneath the surface, the resilience that has carried you this far. You feel anger sometimes, sharp and raw, at the injustice of being both, desired and discarded, at a world that sees you only through the lens of shame. But that anger is also a kind of strength, fuel for survival when the nights grow long and cold. The isolation teaches you to listen closely, to the silence, to your own thoughts, to the small voices of hope that flicker like candlelight in the dark. Have you ever felt misunderstood or judged unfairly by those around you? What gave you strength to hold your own truth? Sometimes strength is found in the quietest places, in the breath that steadies you, in the memory of kindness, in the resolve to keep going when the world looks away. If this story touches you, I invite you to share your thoughts or moments of quiet resilience. Together, we can hold space for those whose voices have long been drowned out, remembering that beneath every whispered judgment lies a human heart beating still. The days are long, and the weight of your life as a concubine presses heavily upon your shoulders. Yet within that burden, you discover a quiet strength, Small, almost invisible moments of resistance that no one else may notice but which sustain you through the darkest hours. These are the hidden ways you carve out a sense of self amid a world determined to erase you. In the stillness of early morning before the household stirs, you find a few precious minutes to breathe freely. You touch the worn fabric of your dress, reminding yourself of where you came from, the hands that crafted it, the land that once felt like home. A secret prayer slips from your lips, soft and unguarded, a whisper to the unseen forces that might watch over you. It is a fragile act of hope, a reclaiming of voice in a place where words are often stolen. You learn to read the smallest gestures, the fleeting glance from a servant who offers a gentle smile, the brief kindness of a fellow woman whose glance says you are not alone. These moments, though few, become lifelines. You cling to them, allowing yourself the rare warmth of connection in a cold and watchful world. There are times when you tuck a small token, a pressed flower, a worn thread, a scrap of parchment with a hastily drawn symbol, into the folds of your clothing. These objects carry meaning only you understand, tiny anchors to your identity and memories. They remind you that beneath the imposed silence, you still hold stories, dreams, and desires that no one can take away. Sometimes resistance is simply choosing to keep your eyes open, to witness, to remember, and to endure. You silently observe the rhythms of the household, learning when to speak and when to be still, when to hide your pain and when to let a fleeting smile show. These small acts of control, though subtle, are victories in themselves. Your resilience is not born from grand gestures or loud defiance, but from the courage to survive each day, to nurture hope in the face of despair. It is in these quiet moments that your spirit remains unbroken, a soft flame flickering against the dark. Have you ever found a quiet way to hold on, even when everything seemed lost? A moment when, despite the odds, you discovered your own silent strength? If this story resonates with you, I invite you to share those moments, those delicate acts of resilience that carry us through life's hardest trials. Together, through these stories, we honor the invisible strength of those who lived in the shadows, reminding ourselves that even in silence, the human spirit finds ways to speak and survive. There is a power in silence, a strength that lives quietly beneath the surface of a woman's life as a concubine. Though the world may see only her chains, she knows the secret ways she holds herself together, piece by fragile piece. In a place where voices are taken and choices are few, survival becomes an art, an act of subtle defiance wrapped in everyday moments. You learn quickly to find comfort in small rituals, perhaps a stolen moment by the window, where the breeze carries the scent of wildflowers from the fields you once walked freely. You press your fingers against the cool glass, imagining the freedom beyond the stone walls. It is a reminder that, though your body is confined, your mind still roams. In these quiet minutes, you gather strength, letting your thoughts wander where your feet cannot. Sometimes you write secret words in your mind, turning them over like precious stones. Words of hope, of remembrance, of a life that might still hold meaning. These internal stories become shields protecting you from despair. When the world is loud with judgment and scorn, you retreat into this inner space, a sanctuary where your spirit can breathe. Connections with others, however fleeting, are lifelines. A glance exchanged with a servant who dares to meet your eyes, a whispered kindness shared behind closed doors. These moments remind you that you are still seen, still valued by someone. It is enough to keep going, to face another day with quiet dignity. You also find ways to express yourself, even when words fail. A gentle touch to a child's cheek, a song hummed softly in the dark, a small gesture of care towards an animal. These are acts of love and identity, silently proclaiming your humanity in a world that tries to deny it. The resilience you cultivate is not loud or dramatic. It is soft and steady, like the slow rise of dawn after a long night. It is found in the breath you take when fear threatens to overwhelm, in the memories you hold close, in the hope that refuses to be extinguished. Have you ever held on to a quiet strength in times of hardship? A moment when, Despite everything, you found a way to keep going? If this story stirs something within you, I invite you to share those moments of gentle resilience. Together, we honor the hidden courage that sustains us all. Through these whispered stories, we remember that even in the darkest places, the human spirit finds its light. And that light, however small, is never truly lost. The days stretch long, beneath the heavy sky, each one blending quietly into the next, yet within this unchanging rhythm, you find moments that belong only to you. These small fragments of time, hidden between duties and watchful eyes, become your sanctuary. In the silence, you trace patterns in the rough fabric of your dress, each thread a reminder of a life that still pulses beneath the weight of your chains. You discover that survival is often a gentle act, a soft song hummed beneath your breath as you work, a secret smile exchanged with a fellow woman whose glance holds understanding. These delicate gestures are lifelines, small sparks of humanity that refuse to be extinguished. They are your rebellion, subtle and profound, whispering to the world that you are still here, still whole. Sometimes your thoughts drift to the past, to a time when freedom was not a distant dream but a daily reality. You close your eyes and remember the warmth of the sun on your face, the scent of wildflowers carried on the breeze, the laughter that once filled the air. These memories are a balm to your spirit, a quiet resistance against the despair that seeks to claim you. In the darkness of your room, you hold close the tokens of your identity. A pressed flower, a worn ribbon, a scrap of parchment with a hastily drawn symbol. These small objects carry the weight of your history and your hopes, anchoring you when the world feels unsteady. They remind you that beneath the imposed silence, your story continues to breathe. Your strength is not forged in grand gestures, but in the everyday choices to endure, to hope, and to love despite the odds. It lives in the soft resilience of your heart, in the courage to face each day with quiet dignity. This invisible strength is your legacy, a testament to the unyielding spirit of those who live in the shadows. Have you ever found a quiet way to hold on, even when everything seemed lost? A moment when your silent strength carried you through the night? If this story touches you, I invite you to share your own moments of gentle courage. Together, we honor the hidden resilience that shapes us all. Through these whispered stories, we remember that even in silence the human spirit speaks, and that voice, no matter how soft, is never truly lost. There are battles no one sees, quiet struggles woven into the fabric of each day, where power and control slip through fingers like water. As a concubine, you live at the mercy of forces far beyond your choosing, yet within that harsh reality, you seek every small way to claim a piece of yourself. The world may think you powerless, but survival demands a kind of cunning strength, a delicate dance of giving and holding back, speaking and silencing. You learn early on that control over your own body is both precious and perilous. Every gesture, every glance becomes part of an unspoken language. Sometimes you say no with your eyes or your silence, drawing invisible lines where you can. Other times, you give what is demanded, but only after choosing the moment carefully, preserving a part of your will beneath the surface. This is not surrender but strategy, a quiet rebellion where even the smallest act of refusal carries weight. Within the Lord's household, whispers of manipulation and power weave around you like a web. You watch how favors are traded, how alliances form and break in hushed corners. To survive, you must read these signals, protect yourself from unseen threats, and sometimes play along with the game to stay safe. The line between victim and player blurs, and you walk it carefully, your heart alert and your spirit cautious. There are moments when you slip away to a quiet corner, where your voice can rise softly in prayer or song, reclaiming the power to speak for yourself even if the world denies you. You write secret words in your mind, shaping your own narrative away from the eyes of those who seek to control you. These acts, though hidden, are vital. They remind you that you are more than what the world demands. Have you ever found yourself navigating difficult power dynamics, trying to protect your sense of self? What small acts helped you reclaim control? If this resonates, I invite you to share your experiences or reflections. In these shared stories, we find strength and solidarity. Through this quiet struggle, The resilience of those who lived in the shadows reveals itself, not as weakness, but as a testament to the human spirit's enduring desire for freedom. However, small and fleeting it may seem, the silence is heavy, an unspoken weight that settles over your days and nights like a thick fog. As a concubine, you carry stories that no one asks to hear, memories you cannot share without risking judgment or, worse, your pain is folded carefully inside you, hidden beneath forced smiles and quiet nods. There is no safe place to speak your truth, no ear that listens without prejudice. The world has chosen to keep your voice locked away, to let your story slip quietly into shadows. You think often about what it means to be unheard, to exist in a space where your feelings, your hopes, your fears are dismissed or ignored. The loneliness is profound, a vast ocean you must cross alone. Each day you gather fragments of yourself from that silence, trying to hold on to who you are beneath the weight of imposed quiet. Your story, like so many others, survives only in whispers. The small moments others overlook, the hidden marks on a worn fabric, the memories held tightly in the heart. History often forgets women like you. Records are written by those in power, and your name is absent, your pain erased. But here, in this quiet telling, your voice finds a refuge. You are remembered not as a label or a footnote, but as a full, living person who felt deeply and endured bravely. Your silence is no longer invisibility. It is a call to listen more carefully, to honor the lives hidden beneath history's surface. Have you ever felt unheard, as if your story was invisible to those around you? What does it mean to truly listen, to hold space for someone's quiet truth without judgment? If these questions stir something within you, I invite you to reflect or share your thoughts. Together, we hold these quiet voices gently, offering them the respect and remembrance they deserve. In honoring your story and those like it, we take a small step toward healing the silence, reminding ourselves that every voice matters, even the softest ones carried on the wind.